good afternoon, good evening, all that good stuff. My name is Kes Bopogri, so long name, don't worry about that. My fight name has been Kevlar Kes for a long time, and I formed a team called Team Kevlar. My life, in a nutshell, is as a fitness professional. For what I do fitness. What that basically means is there are three kinds of fitness. One is mental fitness. The second is dietary fitness. The third, but not the least, is physical fitness. The reason for this channel, for this program, for these programs are mainly mental fitness, mental health. A lot of things have happened in the past year, 5 years, 10 years, that have gone to show that no matter how you are physically and diet-wise, what's most important is your mindset. What's most important is your living, is how you are mentally. So that's mental health, that's mental fitness, which also brings me to my guest today. Today we have a man I've known for a minute. He's quite a good person. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Charlie Morley. Please, Charlie, tell the world who you are, please.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here. My name's Charlie, and I write books about lucid dreaming and mindfulness of dream and sleep. And I used to travel about and run workshops on them. Now I do most of it online. But lucid dreaming, for those who don't know, and often it's a generational thing. I think people 30 and under will just know that term, lucid dreaming. 30 to 40, they might kind of know it and be unsure. And then ages over that, sometimes people don't know. So it's important to know. So a lucid dream is a dream where you know that you're dreaming as the dream is happening. So you're like sound asleep. You're totally blacked out, but in the dream you go, oh wow, this is a dream. So have you ever had that experience? That's a lucid dream. Now how does that link to mental health? Because in a similar way as a hypnotherapist would take an aspect of your conscious mind and drop it down into the unconscious or subconscious mind and plant a suggestion of healing intent, such as I'm free of the addiction of cigarettes, whatever you're being hypnotized for. In a similar way, a lucid dream, you're gaining conscious access to the unconscious mind. So anything you can treat through hypnotherapy, you can treat through lucid dreaming. So I work with people with PTSD, a lot of veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan with nightmares.
Wow.
I work with terrorist survivors and stuff like that. So there's that kind of heavy healing aspect. But the way I got into it was through the Buddhist route. You know, it's been this spiritual practice in Buddhism for like 1,000 years. And I lived in a Buddhist center for 7 years and got really into that practice and was really into, well, still am, into meditation and stuff like that. So that was my route in. But yes, I teach people how to do that. And it's fun as well.
Wait. That's a lot in a nutshell, and that's impressive. So, let's try this again. Just imagine I have never heard of lucid dreaming. And I would automatically assume that, if it's lucid dreaming, it's the same as dreaming or astral projection.
Good point.
Right. So, how would you tell the difference? Because I know from sleep analysis, many times people are dreaming, so scientists say, is they cannot actually read or write when they're sleeping. Would that signify in lucid dreaming?
That's cool. Okay, so you're talking there about something that's called a reality check, a phrase we were talking about before.
Right.
There are certain ways that tell if you're in a lucid dream or not. Now, most of the time, a lucid dream you'll know you're in a lucid dream. When people message me and say, how do I know I'm lucid or not? It's like most people's first few lucid dreams go something like this. Dream. Then you notice something impossible in the dream. Oh my God, my dead grandma. Oh, I'm dreaming. And then they often wake up. It lasts like 5 seconds because they're so excited. There's such a rush of excitement. When you become lucid, they wake up. My job is to teach people how to stay in that for extended periods of time. So essentially, a lucid dream, you'll know it. It's not kind of the half awake, half asleep state. Like there's a practice called yoga nidra, which is what a lot of people experience for 2 minutes at the end of a yoga session, where you lie down in corpse pose and that.
Right.
It's a practice with like 20 or 30 minutes of that, where you're half awake, half asleep. That's not lucid dreaming. If you want to, like a lucid dreamer looks like this. You know, you're out for the count. You are absolutely asleep. But part of, I mean, from a psychological point of view, what's happened is the reactivation of self-reflective awareness within the seemingly unconscious dream state. So essentially you're dreaming, but you're able to reflect on the fact you're dreaming and be like, oh wow, I'm in a dream right now.
That's not, I got it. I definitely got it. Because...
You know what? A friend of mine recently
yes.
said she had started to read the first couple of chapters of Lucid Dreaming Made Easy. And she said, I just don't really get it, so I stopped reading. And I said, have you ever had a lucid dream? She went, no. And I went, okay, so it's a bit like me explaining the taste of chocolate to you. It's going to be really tough. And then she said, I started asking her about her dreams.
Right.
And I said, look, do you ever have any recurring dreams? She said, oh yeah. Like about once a week or once every 2 weeks, I dream of tornadoes. And I was like, okay, perfect. So have you ever been in a tornado in real life? No. How many tornadoes do you witness in your everyday life? None, I've never seen one. Okay, so you know that tornadoes equal dreaming. The next time you experience a tornado, 100% it must mean you're in a dream, right? And she went, oh, okay, I get it. So what do I do now? And I went, well, maybe this conversation is enough. Next time you dream about a tornado, you're going to know. You've made that trigger in your head that tornadoes equal dreaming. Anyway, 3 days later, I get this message from her. I find the message in the morning when I wake up at 8 o'clock, but the message had come through at like 5 o'clock in the morning. She'd WhatsApp me and say, I did it. I had the dream about the tornado. I remembered our conversation. I was like, I'm in a dream. I said, what did you do? And she went, I was just in the dream knowing that everything was a projection of my mind. I knew that my body was asleep in bed. I knew I was literally inside my own mind. And then I got so excited I woke up. But her point was, she went, I tasted the chocolate. Now
Right. Yeah. So you know what the chocolate tastes like. That's good. So we can get all that info in this your book called Lucid Dreaming Made Easy.
Yeah. So that's the second bit. The first book, Dreams Awakening, is like quite a thorough exploration of lucid dreaming in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition and the spirit traditions and stuff. And because that book did well, they wanted me to do a follow-up, which was like a dummy's guide to lucid dreaming. But I think someone's already done that. So
that's for me. That's good. Because see that thing you just said, I like that, because something I noticed about dreaming is the lack of the small details. Example, if I'm going from point A to point B, and I take a bus from point A to point B. When I'm awake and I'm going on that journey, I know the person sitting next to me, the person that just farted there 2 minutes ago, the people shouting in the bus. I'm aware of my surroundings. But when I'm dreaming, I'm in point A and then I'm in point B.
Yeah.
So I skip that whole small process. Wow.
Yeah, so you remind me of a scene in the film Inception, which is 10-year anniversary last month, and which is nuts. It's like 10 years ago. And there's a bit where I can't remember her name, but the female lead is in her first lucid dream. Leonardo DiCaprio's taken her in, and she's saying, like, when's our lesson going to start? She doesn't know she's in a dream, so when's our lesson going to start? And he says, have you noticed in a dream that you seem to just arrive places? You don't seem to travel. And she went, yeah, I guess so. And he goes, how do we get to the cafe? And she goes,
oh, dude.
And then she has a realization, she becomes lucid. And the way they show it, when she becomes lucid, everything starts exploding. And I thought,
right,
that's not literally what happens in lucid dream, but you're so excited when you first have that experience that it's as if everything's exploding.
Right, so in a lucid dream, are you telling me that it's like the blue becomes more blue?
Yeah, so, okay. Now we're going to get into like the nature of what is.
This is awesome. This is right.
Very quickly, you get into this conversation that sound like you're in the Matrix when you start talking about lucid dreaming. Like when Neo says, "But is it real?" and Morpheus replies, "What is real? Is real what you can taste, what you can touch, what you can feel? If so, then this is real." I thought that's like a lucid dream. So in a lucid dream, like you say, the bluer can be bluer than blue.
Right.
Now this sounds like hyperbole, saying that lucid dreaming is an experience of hyperreality, but actually it's very true. Right now, my experience of reality is being mediated, filtered, and limited by the 5 sense organs.
Yes.
So my eyes aren't perfect. So, I mean, I can see the room, but that sign over there is a little bit blurry. I've got a perforated eardrum in my left ear. So sounds over there are going to be slightly, harder to hear. So my experience of reality is being limited by my 5 sense organs.
Right.
In the lucid dream, often people say, why in the lucid dream were the colours so bright? Why were the sounds so loud? Why when I tasted something in the lucid dream did it taste, so amazing? because you weren't seeing through your eyes, you were seeing through your mind. You weren't tasting through your tongue and your nose, you were tasting through your mind. You weren't hearing through your ears because there was no sound.
So I learned this from old African, what's the word I'm going to use? Old African spiritualists, which is basically, you don't just see with your eyes, you see with your tongue. So you're not just tasting, because when you taste something, you're like, oh, this tea tastes good. You're tasting. You want to actually see with your tongue, which basically means if you're not good at it, you want to try to shut your other senses and pay attention to that one sense to heighten yourself better. So when you are dreaming in your lucid dream, your lucid dreams get better, because in this plane, lack of a better term, in this plane where you think you are awake, this is where you need to try to learn to see with your ears, see with your nose, see with your tongue, not just these eyes, because everything has to see when you give it the full attention.
Long history of dream work in African traditions. I've only been exposed to the southern African ones,
Right.
Of the Xhosa tribe and
Xhosa.
the Zulu tribe.
Yes.
But-
Sorry.
Yeah.
Many non-Africans cannot go Xhosa. Many
Well, I didn't
cannot-
get it quite right.
No, you're good.
I tried.
You're good. It's like my surname. You're good. I'm listening. Apologies. I'm listening. That's very good.
Yeah, they've got long lucid dream traditions. There's
Yes.
even like in the West, there's this idea of like mugwort. Like a lot of people know about mugwort tea as like a way of stimulating dreaming. There's actually no biochemical evidence for mugwort stimulating dreaming. So I think it's a little bit more maybe the energy of the plant if you're into that, or maybe just a placebo. However, in the Southern African traditions, they have something called umpepo. And umpepo is a form of mugwort, but it's like kind of psychedelic mugwort. And it's not smoke, but it's you burn it so the smoke is in the air, and then you meditate. And by breathing it in, it can affect your dreams at night.
Those who don't know about it, they call it a hallucinogenic drug. It's not a drug.
Oh yeah,
It's not a drug
This is
at
a
all.
medicine. This is a
It helps you.
sacred substance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I like that. What I tend to see is people, not the world, people generally tend to have a disparaging difference between religion and spirituality, right? And on this channel, I try. The word is try. Keyword is try here. Yoda says you don't try, you do. Try not to talk about the verses. The verses is basically blue versus red, Arsenal versus Man U, Liverpool v Chelsea,
Spirituality.
men v women. Exactly. Politics. And I try not to do that, because many times that people do this, they are not actually paying attention to what's happening. Because a lot of people tend to want to hold on to an affiliation and run with it. Example, if for 300 years I have been trained, my parents have been trained, my parents' parents have been trained and conditioned and programmed to believe that the sky is red. No matter what you tell me about the sky being blue, I'm going to believe, even when I see the sky is blue, I'm going to go, but I was born into this, therefore it must be true. I've been doing this for 200 years, therefore it must be true. My teachers taught me this, the church taught me this, the school taught me this, the media keeps saying this to me every day, that, oh, the sky is red. Even when I see it's blue, but they've said the sky is red, therefore I believe in that sky being red. So this is why I try not to get in that whole conversation, because many times we are saying the same thing, but from a different perspective, which is then where I go, hold on. Most likely the sky is red because when you look at the sky at say 6 p.m. and the sun is setting, the sky is red. But at 12 noon is the sky red. And then they go, oh, this is when everyone goes, okay, so we're saying the same thing, but we're seeing it from a different point of view and perspective. So how would you have that sort of comparison and a point of view when it comes to religion and spirituality, please.
So I witnessed this in very stark contrast when I moved into the Buddhist center. So Buddhism is a very interesting tradition because there's one argument that says Buddhism is not a religion,
Right.
because it has no God, it has no creator, and it has no dogma. There's nothing you are kind of forced to do.
Right.
So it doesn't tick some of these boxes like creator, explanation of that's it. Explanation of how things begun, creator God, and kind of forced dogma. So Buddhism is a philosophy, it's a spirituality, it's not a religion. I kind of bought into that until I lived in a Buddhist center for almost 8 years. And I realized, no, Buddhism's a religion, but it is also a spiritual part. Because I live with monks and nuns. And the monks and nuns were living a life of religiosity. They were living a life of tradition, of ritual, of certain practices that were done because that's what monks have always done. So there was absolutely a religious aspect, but there was also a deeply spiritual aspect. And the monks were able to do both, the monks and nuns. They were able to practice this kind of religious aspect of the tradition, but also not lose sight of the spirituality. However, the majority of people living at the Buddhist center were not monks or nuns, they were lay practitioners. So they were practicing the spirituality of Buddhism without so many of those religious aspects to it. But it really made me realize it's both. There is religion and there's spirituality, and it's brilliant when they can coexist, when you can have a spiritual religion, but it's totally possible to have a religion devoid of spirituality, and it's absolutely possible to have a spiritual experience free of any religious affiliation.
See, here's what I like to say about religion. It's part of the mankind will to know what's next or to grow. I'll make it quite easy for you, right? Humanity, the ultimate goal for mankind is ascension, because we've always noticed from there's a birth there has to be a death, and then there's a question of what is past that door. So when it comes to a religion, many a times throughout history, whichever gods mankind has worshipped, they have aspired to be godlike, because the whole point of ascension is to go from being man-like to being godlike. So, example, if the god I worshipped was a god of war, a warring god, a fighting god, my clan, my tribe, my village, my people, all they would want to do in order to be godlike is to fight wars. Because we've been programmed to go, when I die, I want to go into that heaven where that God is, that warring God, because that's the heaven. If the God I worship is peaceful and loving, I would tend to want to be like that God. So if my God is peaceful, nice, sweet, that's my own mentality of ascension would basically be, in order to ascend to the highest of heavens, which is that heaven, I need to act godlike in my manly form. So it's kind of what you see when it comes to, let me pick a religion. Christianity. Right. So Christianity, even the term Christianity basically means Christ-like, to be like Christ. So many of today's Christians tend to emulate what their Christ have done. So they want to ascend to become like Christ, which is the whole point of religion. The Norse gods were warring gods, they're battle gods. What did the Vikings do? You see the whole point of it. Tibetan monks, the gods they worship were not fighting gods, they're peaceful. What did they do? So when it comes to religion, I see it that way. The whole world doesn't see it that way. When it comes to spirituality, really don't need to go to church to become spiritual, because it's actually internal. There are these things called, in psychology, it's called internal and external locus of control. But the key word there is control. When it comes to external locus of control, for the external, it's more of I need power from the external source. So many times, followers of religion tend to follow an external locus of control. Example, Jesus, take the wheel. Oh, we're going through something. Okay, I'm going to sit down there and just pray. Instead of taking action and doing things, you go, no, I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go to this place. I'll pay my tithes, and so they'll pray for me and I'll get it done. So that's actually external locus of control, which is more of religion, which is going to be, someone else has to pray for you in order for you to find yourself. You see how it's going? Somebody else has to tell you this is who you are in order for you to find yourself. But now, spirituality is more of an internal locus of control. Internally, you are in control because you have to go within to see what is out there, which is spirituality. Because spirituality, you may need a mentor, an advisor to help you, but when you have to lucid dream, that's you in your dream.
Yeah.
That's you facing your own song.
And this is these terms esoteric. Esoteric, literally, we use the term esoteric a lot to talk about spirituality, but exoteric. Right? So exoteric religion is the practice of doing things externally to have a result, and the esoteric is doing something internally. So by definition, lucid dreaming is an esoteric practice.
Exactly.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's some high spiritual practice, but it means it's one that one does within oneself. And that's a cool thing, lucid dreaming. You're literally walking around your own psychology.
Is lucid dreaming the same as astral projection?
So astral projection, people would debate for this from a Buddhist point of view, and actually from the psychological point of view. You find a lot of these meeting points. A lucid dream is an experience that can only happen in REM dreaming sleep state. So you can put someone in a brain scan and tell whether they're having a lucid dream or not. You can't fake it. It's like you can see the back part of the brain is highly active when you dream. Usually the front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is not active when you dream. And the prefrontal cortex is where your sense of self resides. So this is why you can dream you're other people. It's why you can dream you're a child when you're an adult, a woman if you're a man. You can have such crazy dreams because your sense of self is offline or has greatly reduced. When you become lucid, the kind of neurological proof of lucidity is you get activation in the prefrontal cortex, which makes complete sense because when you're lucid, you go, oh wow, I am having a dream. My ego thing switches on, and my ego program. And that's actually one of the core benefits of lucid dreaming, because once the prefrontal cortex switches on, neuroplasticity becomes engaged. And neuroplasticity isn't engaged in non-lucid dreaming. So we could dream about martial arts all we like tonight. Tomorrow we aren't going to be any better at martial arts. But studies have shown that if you get lucid in your dream, activate the prefrontal cortex, and then practice martial arts in your dream, you'll get better the next day. And I was part of one of these studies. There are 25 martial artists who could lucid dream. 81.3% reported waking state improvement in their martial arts ability by training in the lucid dream. Now, embarrassing, I was one of the 11% that did not have any waking state improvement, but I don't know, maybe I did it wrong. But they proved you can get better at stuff in lucid dreaming. They did the same with squats. People do squats in their lucid dreams, and the next day they found their personal best on squats got better. So you can literally train your body while you sleep.
Interesting. You say that, and I've had that experience.
Oh, I never answered your question. Sorry about astral projection.
Yes.
So that's what a lucid dream is. So we know it's a lucid dream because we can see what's happening with the brain. Astral projection isn't scientifically verified. So, and it's going to be very hard to scientifically verify astral projection, because to do that you would have to verify the origin of consciousness. Because if you're going to say consciousness is leaving the body, you're making an assumption that consciousness is within the body. Or if you're saying consciousness is leaving your brain, you're making an assumption consciousness is in the brain. So until we answer the hard problem of consciousness, it'll still be many years until we can prove astral projection. However, for anyone who's ever had an out-of-body experience, they're real. Just because science can't prove it yet doesn't mean something's not real.
Let me add something to that. This is gonna break the internet. So Science is, I'm a martial artist, so I always come from martial arts point of view. Science is a white belt in a class.
Is
A white belt
uh-huh.
in a class of black belts. You just walked in 100 years ago and you think you know something. No. Mankind has been doing sciences for millennia. Now, what's magic? I'll tell you what it is. Magic is science that cannot be deciphered.
Yeah.
Magic in itself is biological science. Everything has a spiral. The spiral goes in this direction, not the other way around. If you look down to the DNA of water, it's a spiral. If you look down to the human DNA, it's a spiral. When you flush your toilet, it's a spiral. Water travels down or up in a spiral way. Everything has a spiral movement. This is why when there's a kind of magic connotation, whatever people trying to do magic upon anybody, they take a part of your energy. Your energy is not just physical. It's physical, spiritual, metaphysical, everything. Your DNA is your energy. Your hair is your DNA, is your energy, is your magic. It's a biological science. There are many things about magic that you would learn in Africa from 50,000 years ago that still date to today. But they will call it magic. It's biological science. That's another day, another dollar, another time, another video. Also, you saying about your lucid dreaming and getting better. In my heyday, I learned a few jiu-jitsu moves while I was dreaming.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And I had never seen it before.
Yeah.
But it was more like the blueprint.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, so this is why this move works.
Yeah.
In my dream.
Yeah.
And I was very aware, very conscious about what happened, and I woke up holding on to that memory.
Yeah. If you look at the reason we dream, right? It's reconsolidation of memory. So you stop someone dreaming, they stop remembering. In fact, stopping someone dreaming is even used as a torture method in Guantanamo Bay. They were letting them sleep, but they were stopping them dreaming. Because you take someone dreams from them, they go into psychosis very quickly. But it's not only reconsolidation of memory, it's updating survival mechanisms. So it's our ability to dream about things that haven't happened yet, about future events. Now, what you're describing there is your dreamer taking information from the day, like certain jiu-jitsu moves you had practiced and already knew. But then the genius of the dream is it combines things that you already know with future possibilities that haven't yet happened. So you can dream a move you haven't yet done. And it's like, you invented that, that's your move. But your dreamer put it together in the dream space. And this is how we learn. In fact, there's an evolutionary theory that this is how we came to be top predator on the planet, was our ability to dream. Because apart from dolphins, we're the mammal that dreams for the longest period per night. If you look at the intelligence of dolphins, there seems to be a backup there too, that the more dream, the more intelligence.
Funny thing about that you say is there has always been a human grid. So the internet is not, that you know today, is not the first internet. There's been a human grid connection that's been there for millennia. Now nobody can tell you the day every human, every man on earth woke up and made bow and arrow. No one can tell you when. But what they can tell you is that the ones who know can tell you that at the same time, on the same Monday, every man around the world woke up and could automatically make the bow and arrow. Just like that. So we humans have our own grid, and there's a lot that happens to us when we are asleep.
Oh wait, sorry, I just got what you're talking about there.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Morphe Resonance theory. They did it with monkeys. They found that
Yes.
monkeys in one part of the world learn to use a tool in a certain way, like an evolutionary development. And within a month, monkeys in other parts of the world that obviously had no communication,
No communication.
was doing the same things.
Basically.
And it was like the explanation for this guy Rupert Sheldrake is that there's a Morphe Resonance field.
Yes.
So much so that he tells a funny story. I don't know if he made a joke or not. He said his kids tried to show up to their GCSEs late so that the answers would already be in the morphic field. You know, because so many thousand kids would already answer the paper. They'd do it half an hour later.
Exactly.
They'd do the answer. Like, oh my God, that's freaking nuts.
So basically, this race of monkeys in one part of the world they have their fruits, and these fruits that they eat, they would never eat it when it's dirty. It has to be clean. So what was done was these scientists, what I keep saying, science is a white belt in a black belt class. This has been going on for a lifetime. I was a child and I learned about this from my great grandparents and their whole clans alike. I was like, yes, African tales. But the things I've learned as a child are all making sense to me now, and I'm like, hold on, they were right. So now, these monkeys from this part of the world that have to eat this fruit, scientists put the fruit in the sand and they were not going to eat it. The monkeys from this other part of the world, no more life, right? So what they did now was the younger ones took the fruit, went to the water, which is about not far from it. They went to the water, washed the fruit and started eating it. The older ones saw the monkeys doing it and they started doing it. Now, at the same time, these other monkeys around the world, across the world, were doing the same thing of just that species of monkey. There's another term they use for it, is the 100 monkey law or rule, which is basically if you teach 100 people something, everyone of that grid, of that line gets it. Which is actually old science. That's biological science. That's, in lack of a better word, that's magic, which goes way, way, way back. But yeah, now, apologies for rambling. Where and how can we get these books, please?
From Amazon and bookshops and anywhere that sells books.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they are publicly available. I was lucky enough to go with like this big American publisher, so yeah, you can find them.
Do you have them as ebooks?
Yeah, they're on ebooks and they're on audiobooks. And apparently the audiobook is, people seem to like it. It's I'm narrating it, and apparently my voice isn't that annoying.
Oh, it's your voice?
Yeah. His voice isn't actually that annoying. I was actually that annoying. Like, they expect it to be really freaking annoying. Yeah, and the audiobook's quite good because obviously there are like meditations in there. And if you read the book, you've got to read the meditation, try and remember it, and then do it. Whereas in the audiobook, I'm guiding the meditation. So yeah, they're an audiobook, ebook, and
So if I go online and look for it, is it on Spotify?
No, where do you get audiobooks? Audible.
Audible.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I just go in there and type in Charlie Morley, and it just...
Yeah, apparently, even if you forget my last name, if you type in Charlie Lucid Dreaming, all my stuff comes up. I think I'm the only Charlie in the lucid dreaming world, apparently.
You're the only English name in the world. Okay, good. Okay, that's fine. How else can we find you? Are you on Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, I'm everywhere there. I'd be a very bad spy. I'm very easy to find. So yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and website and all that. And obviously did loads of stuff online now because of the lockdown. But even if, I used to do a lot of touring. Like at least once a month I'd be in a different country. If all of this lockdown and all the pandemic were to just end completely tomorrow, I still wouldn't go back to that lifestyle, I think. I think I've realised how much more I was travelling than I needed to. How many more people I can reach, actually, through Zoom. Because suddenly you can get 100 people at a workshop rather than 20 people. And from like 12 different countries.
You caught me at Zoom and workshops. So, when are your workshops? When's your next workshop?
I've only actually got like one left this year because I'm writing this new book and the deadline's January the 1st. So I've got to knuckle down and finish this book.
New book?
Yeah, new book. And the new book is, what's the working title? We're not actually happy with it yet. The working title is Make Peace with Your Sleep. And it's 5 practices to transform stress or trauma-affected sleep. So the new book isn't about lucid dreaming. It's for people with trauma-affected sleep. So the work I've been doing with the army veterans and stuff like that in book form. But yeah, if you go on my website, there's a couple more workshops coming up this year.
And on Instagram, you are...
What am I on Instagram? Charlie Morley Lucid Dreaming.
Facebook?
The same.
That's great. That is great. Okay, I like what you do. Obviously, I like what you do. Now, how can we help you? What would I do to make your days better? How can I help? How can I contribute to what you do?
I wouldn't ask for a contribution to what I do, but more a contribution just to the general well-being of the world, I think, would be, I'd just be encouraging people to look at their dreams. You know, you're asleep for a third of your life. And we leave the education system in this country at least knowing nothing about how we spend a third of our life. Now, not all of that third of our life, not all those 30 years are spent dreaming. We only dream for about 2.5 hours a night, but let's say a solid like 10 or 15 years. A solid 10 years is spent dreaming. And a lot of people spend a lot of money going to psychiatrists or psychologists and saying, what's going on in here? You want to know what's going on in here? Look at your dreams. Who are you secretly in love with? Look at your dreams. What childhood traumas are still getting you down? Look at your dreams. What anxieties from work or your family work are getting you, are affecting your mind? Look at your dreams. Just by keeping a dream, like I literally believe we could transform to a small degree the mental health of the entire world if we taught people to keep a dream diary. If when kids go to the education system, they know what a dream diary is, they know what it is, simply by waking up in the morning and noting down the unconscious processes that occur when we sleep and making them conscious, that's all that's needed. Awareness is curative in and of itself. You don't need to interpret the dream, you don't need to change the dream, you just need to go, oh wow, I had a nightmare last night. That's it. It just wants to be, the dream is like us, it just wants to be seen and heard. So I think if we could get the whole world being aware of their dreams, you'd have a much more peaceful world. Because by being aware of your dreams, you're aware of your unconscious processes, and what you don't know about controls you.
I like how you say that, because no matter where you are, no matter who you are, you sleep.
Yeah.
You dream. And science has this thing called the circadian rhythm, which is the moment the sun goes down, your body starts to shut down. So your organs start to shut down, your brain starts to shut down, which is why personal trainers and coaches who do training say you don't eat past a certain time, because your internal organs start to sleep. Your stomach starts to sleep. Your body is sleeping, so it's not going to digest food as much as it's supposed to. And based on the circadian rhythm, the so-called best times to get sleep is 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. The so-called best time. So which basically means if you sleep for 8 hours from say 10 to 6, there are better hours than sleeping from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. This makes sense with that. So would lucid dreaming be harder if my sleep pattern is broken?
Yes and no. Like some people think that to lucid dream you have to have this like perfect sleep pattern. Actually, quite a lot of the things that lead to spontaneous lucid dreams, so people just randomly have a lucid dream, is actually because they've messed with their sleep cycle. So like if someone has jet lag, they might find that lucid dreaming is easier. There's something called REM rebound, which is like if you miss a night's sleep, the next night you get double the REM period. Not double the deep sleep, interesting. So the brain prioritizes dream over everything else.
Right.
Because again, the body can heal itself, but if the mind starts to go, you're prey for animals, right? So let's say someone's been out dancing all night, been traveling all night, and the next night they go to bed, they'll have REM rebound, extra REM period. So that can be good for lucid dreaming. So in one way, no. Like actually disruptions to your sleep pattern can be good for lucid dreaming. But in another way, okay, yeah, in a perfect world, we'd go to bed early, we wouldn't eat too close to bedtime, we'd be on an empty stomach, we'd have a solid, 7 to 9 hours. That would be the best sleep hygiene for lucid dreaming.
Mind blown. This is really good. One thing I've realized is with society today, especially waking up to your alarm alarms you, basically alarms you, jolts you from your sleep state and back up. And also I've noticed that most people who dream and don't have a dream diary, the moment their feet hit the floor, they forget what they dreamt of. And that's crazy. That's what's crazy. Which is like the societies, or the world as it is today, is trying to make you forget what you had.
I mean, the alarm clock thing is great. I think there's no greater symbol of our lost regard for the sacred nature of sleep than the alarm clock.
Isn't the word itself?
When did we sign up to think the best way to start our day was big rush of cortisol and adrenaline to the bloodstream, and we wonder why we're having a bad day? It's like, this is nuts. So people are listening to this, the one tip they take from the podcast: set your alarm for something you like. whether it's bird, most people their alarms on their smartphone, right? So you can have your favorite song or bird song or like the sound of water. But if anyone's got like biddly or some like annoying alarm, just change it. I wake up to my favorite piece of music, so I want to wake up so I can listen to the chorus because I love the track so much. It's such a different way of waking up. So I want to wake up, not oh my god, I gotta wake up.
I've got my alarm is product placement. My alarm is Akuma's theme song in Street Fighter 5.
Oh.
So there's a dim very African beat. I'm like, yeah, let's go. It's like, let's go. Get the whole rush and the whole burst. Yeah, but that's good. Charlie, it has been emotional. Thank you very much for this wonderful day and this speaking.
Thank you, man.
So
it's been a pleasure.
if we'd like to get in contact with you, we can go through Instagram, find you on Facebook, Charlie Morley, Lucid Dreaming as well. Download his book. It's on Audible. Just type in Charlie Lucid Dreaming. You can't miss it. Thank you very much. I've been Kevlar Kess. It's been Team Kevlar and Lucid Dreaming Charlie Morley. It's been emotional.
Thank you so much.